Hey, what's up, traders? Mike here with the watch list video for August 1st. Can you believe it? Monday, August 1st. Another strong day in the market. SPY above the 20-day, the 8-day, the 50-day. I think the 200-day somewhere up here around 433, but a really impressive rally off the recent lows from kind of mid-June there. Before I go into the watch list for Monday, a couple highlights from Friday. You can see my timestamp post. I put out the idea TNXP over 187, which is the earlier high of day. So I drew a line there. And I drew a line at yesterday's, the day before that, Thursday's high, as another potential catalyst. And noted that GOVX was ripping, which is another monkeypox play. And also wrote that TNXP had a nice headline, monkeypox related the day before. So when it broke right there, broke the earlier high, nice pop to almost two, but the pullback and then the big move. And really had a nice pop there. And let's get rid of that one. I'll show you one other highlight, TBLT. I put out the fives buy zone near the retest of the open idea. So it was strong. And the fives buy zone, for those of you that don't know, you haven't seen our free webinars or you're not in our chat room, it's right between the blue and red line, kind of the middle of that area. And there I do a line at the opening price. You see how those two things coincided? Middle of the fives buy zone coincided with the high, opening price retest, and it was off to the races from there. Just a couple examples from the kind of things we do in the chat room. Anyway, especially for those that weren't there on Friday, just to kind of keep you abreast of what was going on. Plenty of other good calls. I just take a couple screenshots throughout the day to try to show some highlights. And not a very big list, believe it or not, going into Monday. TBLT looked absolutely beautiful during the middle of the day when this was a solid green candle. I mean, that daily chart was pretty, but as one lesson you can learn as a trader, as a chart is forming, in other words, say you're looking at the hourly chart or the daily chart, but it's not complete yet. Okay, a good example would be TBLT. At one point during the day on Friday, if you looked at it, you had a solid green daily candle, and you had this recent high just above. You had this private placement that came in, which probably sucked in some shorts. So you had a real good potential for a squeeze, and the daily chart looked beautiful, but the daily chart wasn't complete yet, right? Because the day wasn't over. And by the end of the day, now you've got this topping tail, and it just doesn't look quite as pretty. So, which is one of the reasons why when we get down to the final hour of each day, I start looking at the daily charts, because now you're close to the closing bell, and you kind of get a feel for how it's going to look, in the evening when people are scanning charts. So it's really important to realize when you're looking at a certain time frame chart, make sure you understand whether or not that time frame is complete yet, right? Like the daily chart still forming, the daily candle still forming on TBLT, and ended up not looking as pretty. It's a good example. Anyway, having said all that, I still want to watch TBLT. It's certainly a recent high flyer and in-play stock. GETY, there's a series of like recent SPAC plays that have just gone nuts because they're SPAC plays and there's no other reason. But I'm going to keep an eye on them because as a day trader, you can get some really nice moves, right? So GETY was the chosen SPAC that might rip on Friday, and it ended up, having a wide range, closing about where it opened. I never got involved in this thing at all on Friday, but it's still worth keeping an eye on. PGY is another one. Man, I missed an opportunity back through 20. I'll tell you what I did wrong. I think about 10 minutes in on Friday, this was my favorite stock back through 20. I already had it typed out to send into the chat room. If it got up to the mid-19s, I was going to send out my idea. I like this back through 20 with the previous day's high just above. But here's what it did. It's a good lesson for myself and for everybody. Next thing you know, it's back down here. Like below 1650. And at that point, I thought, well, I no longer like it through 20 because it's going to have to go almost $4 just to trigger. So I took it off a chart, right? Took it off a chart. And that was my huge mistake, because I might have caught a Tokyo trade. Wait for it. Right about there. I might have caught the Tokyo before the 20 break had I had that on a chart in front of me. I mean, I would have had to have been staring at it. And it went up like $7 from there. So heartbreaking because I took it off a chart. And again, there's a lesson. If you got a recent high flyer, you should probably keep them on a chart, right, while you're trading. Anyway, I'm going to put this back on watch, even though it's really extended because it is quite the mover lately. MGAM is traded for 1 day, but it was being touted as a low float IPO, and it caught a bid, right? It went from 450 all the way up to over 1250. Does that mean I'm going to trade it tomorrow? Now, I'd like to see it come in for a couple days, but we're going to put it on watch. BCAC, another one of these SPACs that just went nuts. And again, it was kind of a chosen one. Somebody with a big following probably said, hey, this could be the next one. And sometimes that works, right? I would say this. If you took this into upside shape and bought this, say, 25, 26, or 27 because you thought this is going to keep going like some of these others, it opened in after hours, I want to say below 25, maybe, no, close to like 22.50, and ended up closing after hours at 16 something. So it's a good lesson there. You never want to chase. Having said that, again, it's in that recent high flyer space, so we're going to watch it. I don't have any like great charts other than kind of the recent crazy stuff, it seems like, but FaZe is another one, and it had a pretty strong close on Friday. That's FAZE. INMD. I do like this chart. It kind of had the breakout, then the quiet inside day that stayed near Friday's high. That one's got potential to follow through. NOVA, I believe, is a solar play. Had the gap up on Thursday, kind of sold off. Friday turning right back up, though, so potential squeeze there. SKYX had the big pop. I think it had like a $15 price target put on it on Thursday. And then Friday, quiet inside day, so we're looking for a third day play there. And then lastly, I'm going to throw Redbox RDBX back on watch, although it's not very pretty. But you can't ignore 100 million share plus day. And now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lower highs. I am going to put it on bounce watch, even though in the bigger scheme of things, you got a lot of bag holders, right, from back here. But it is a recent high flyer. So I'm going to leave that on watch. We'll add some gappers to the list as we always do in the pre-market. And, should be plenty to trade on Monday. I'll see you guys in the chat room.